Welcome back to Morning Express, Friday the 21st of March. I'm joined by Chelegat, head of social media here at the Standard Group. Today we're talking about fundraising, raising of money on social media. How exactly does that work, Joy? We see that happening, you know, people will say, I know the most recent one, and we had her in studio, Snow Legal, you know, she had a campaign as well online, and we've seen quite a number. Konje will be putting up some of those graphics in a short while. But where did this begin?
Well, I think, as we talked about it before so many times, that social media is just an extension of traditional media. Okay. And we've seen so many people having pleas on social media, I mean on traditional media, you know, letter to the president kind of things, where people in Tana maybe don't have water, or people in Turkana don't have water. Then, you know, journalists cover this story and then they ask for assistance.
Yes.
So we've seen such kind of stories, and what ends up happening is now, since social media is just an extension of these other media in one way or the other, the same applies for that.
Okay. And definitely several things have to be put in place. We've seen numerous times when people have been conned, they'll raise money, give out money. At the end, you find out it was all a huge scam. With the ones we've seen so far in Kenya, have they been successful?
Well, most of them have been successful. I remember the Konje one was one that was quite successful because remember there were actually two fundraisings. There's one when she was ill and they needed money to clear her medical bills.
Right.
So there was a time when the story was brought out, I think by some sports journalists, that she was about to be kicked out of her house because she hadn't paid rent, and the rent was actually a very minimal amount. I can't remember how much, but it was very little. So then people started a campaign on Twitter to try and see how they can raise money for her.
Yeah.
So what actually ends up happening in Kenya, we have the M-Pesa and the other mobile money transfers, Airtel and all that. So what people do these days to ensure they don't get conned is that you ask for a pay bill number. And so when you get the pay bill number by Safaricom or by Airtel, when you get that number, when people transfer money to that number, you know, it's almost a bit audited. But where you actually transfer money directly to someone's phone, I mean,
that's not going to be, you don't have, you cannot be clear whether it's actually going to the person who's going to directly buy your money. Let's have a look at those graphics. You have some of the tweets captured from that campaign with Konje. We'll put them up and just have a look at some of the things that were being said. But Joy, as with everything else, it comes with its risks. It comes with its, you know, it could work, could not work. But this, some of the tweets we're seeing, they're getting back with Team Pamoja Konje to see what next. So that hashtag then that was being used was Pamoja Konje.
Yes.
And they had a pay bill number.
Yes.
Okay.
What actually ends up happening, and this is how many non-profits and even other people who raise money, you look for a catchy hashtag, a hashtag that people will be able to use, and then as it trends, it raises interest. Why is Pamoja Konje trending? When I click on that, I'll see the whole discussion. So that's one way that non-profits or even people can use when they're raising money, is that you choose a very nice and catchy hashtag like the Pamoja Konje one, and as it continues to trend, as people continue to discuss it, it raises the visibility, because visibility is basically what you're trying to do when you bring the story to social media or even traditional media.
To get more people on board. And also, Joe, would say it's important to have known figures with such campaigns, because then with it comes some form of trust and confidence from everybody else.
Yes, I remember there was a time when we had raised money for the Westgate, and I remember the people were asking Kenya Red Cross, could you make these figures public? And they actually had a Twitter chat where they tweeted and made the figures public. And I think also non-profits and even individuals who are raising money, it's only right that you do that, because all of us have somehow bought into the idea. So we should, at the end of the day, know how that money was used.
Yeah. Yes. So there's the part of accountability, which when it does not happen again, then it becomes a whole backlash. People will hit back.
Yes, and then the worst part about it is it ends up actually crippling the whole channel of using social media to generate money. Because I'll say the last time I gave 1,000 bob to whatever charity or to whatever cause, I never knew how the money was used. So my money went like that. So the next time when I see something online, I'll be like, am I really sure I can raise money, you know, and will the money go to the right place? Yes.
But to what I was just trying to bring out, it's just not any person perhaps who this would work with, you know, a no-known person perhaps with 88 followers. It will take then someone with, no offense to anybody with 88 followers, but it would need you to have the numbers, or at least be able to get people who can get and catch that attention on social media, supporting you, retweeting, and helping you push what it is you want.
Actually, Sophia, you've hit the nail on the head, because what actually ends up happening is the greater the number of people who are involved in the campaign, then, you know, the greater the outcome. We've seen, for example, the Hands Off Our Elephants campaign, which was aimed at raising the visibility of people, you know, not taking, you know, the ivory from our elephants and killing the elephants and all that. Because so many people are involved in it, you know, even huge media houses like us were involved in it. Then it raised the visibility even online. People are wondering, okay, what's happening with the elephants, you know? Yeah. So yes, when people do have these campaigns, they must get connected to either Twitter bigwigs or companies such as Safaricom and Airtel, or these other major companies. For example, the Chase Bank is running one right now for mothers. They're trying to tell people to run and donate money so they can train midwives. So you have to get these heavyweights online to support you. And when they support you, the visibility goes, and that's how you get your money.
Okay. So for a person sitting watching this, thinking of running such a campaign to raise money for whatever cause it is, the things to keep in mind very quickly to run us through is, one, you must make everybody you're targeting out there know that if I put my money into this, it's actually going to go to the cause to which you're saying it will go.
Yes.
And that there's going to be some accountability, you'll have an understanding, and that there are trusted figures behind you. It's not just Sophia Wanuna telling us she's going to help some people somewhere, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is there anything else to be very careful about and that perhaps is misunderstood or misread?
Yes. I think the very thing the one thing that you have to be very careful about as a person who wants to contribute to this is do a background search on what cause, you know, because it's very easy for me to sit down with my 10 friends and think we need money. Let's create a cause. So research, find out, is this cause something that's actually real? Check if authority figures have actually backed it. And then the other thing that you also have to keep in mind is this money, once it's out of your hands, it's out of your hands. You know, you can complain about it later, but the truth of the matter is, once you've given out that money, it's gone. So you have to really do your considerations and do your homework before you actually donate the money.
Okay, so there's homework on both ends. Yes. The one with the campaign, running the campaign, and the one who's intending to participate and contribute. Finally, Joy, there's always, for me, I think, if you're going to spend all this energy and time asking, I've never or rarely have seen people coming back to say thank you. Or, you know, say this is what actually we achieved. And for me, that always makes me think, okay, you spend all that and do, how about come and say thank you? How about come and say this is what we achieved, this is what you contributed did? What do you have to say on that?
That's actually very true. Many people raise the money, but you don't know how much money was raised. You don't know what the effect of it was. And that's why I like the Kenyan for Kenyan ones. When they're closing the campaign, you know, they showed guys pictures of the farms where people are now, you know, kind of raising, you know, different crops so that they don't have to go through the hunger crisis anymore. They showed you the schools and everything that they were able to build from that amount of money. But you're right, that people do not actually adequately account for the money or give you undisputable proof of how the money was used. So it's very important that as a fundraising company or as an individual who's seeking to raise funds for a certain cause, that in your game plan there's also a way that you can be able to show people, this is the money you gave me, this is how I use it, and this is the outcome of the money.
And perhaps thank you as well.
Yes.
Our expert on social affairs, social media issues. Thank you very much, Joy, for joining us this morning. I hope somebody thinking of running a campaign to raise funds has gotten some tips then. Of course, even as you see them online, as Joy said, always important to do your background checks. And when you run them, tell the people who helped you. Asante. Very good manners. My mom taught me that at least. Stay with us on KTN. When we return, Friday Chat is on. Sharon Momani, Ian Wafula will be with us. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be exciting. Don't go away.